Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Suzanne. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is not your first time, we'll see each other in the comments section. Oh, by the way, thank you for the person who actually mentioned or corrected me in my last video about French not being a national language. The way I ran to Google, I was like, wait, that cannot be true. That cannot be true. I went to Google and it's not. We have 4 national languages and French is just a language that we all speak for nothing. Imperialism much, but that's another subject for another day. I actually was looking into it and actually even asked my politics friends. I was like, guys, do you think this is normal? And they were just like, Susie, you know what imperialism is? No. I was like, yeah, but like a little bit of a background on the history of non-profit businesses. So non-profit businesses or international non-profit organizations, they were put in place to reinforce human rights within within third world countries where it's more prevalent. And by this, there's also a bias because then they assume that human rights violations do not happen in first world countries. So that's another topic for another day, but just for the purpose of this video, that's why not-for-profit businesses or organizations were created to keep tabs on human rights. So when that happened, then there's been a flood of it everywhere where there's a conflict. You see that these organizations kind of like come together, each one of them have their own roles of a history, so they're there to enforce human rights. So when individuals are getting into these businesses as well, they do it like from their heart, from their passion. It's just like, okay, these people are marginalized in society. I want to bring a non-profit or something that will be able to help them and make it a non-profit, which is cool. But then I've seen also the disadvantages of these organizations or when individuals actually want to get into this themselves, which goes with funding and the longevity of things. It's a whole spectrum of things which we're going to talk about today. So before we start, I read that in a journal in The Economist when I was in college about a Chinese factory it was operating in China, but they wanted to start bringing the product to Ethiopia so they can sell throughout Africa. And then the Prime Minister of Ethiopia was like, why don't you just bring the factory to Ethiopia so we can be able to build things here and then sell it throughout Africa? It doesn't have to be in China. And then she was like, okay, cool, which she did. And the proverb, if I can say, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you show him how to fish, he will be able to feed himself for a lifetime. So the first thing that I've seen between individuals comparing to major NGOs or INGOs is that the longevity of the distribution of resources. So when you start a non-profit, everyone is encouraging, everyone is just like, yeah, that's a good idea, because these are actually really good ideas and there are people who care about what they actually are standing for. So you start a non-profit, everyone is behind you. Do you need donations? We're going to do this and this. You will try and run marathons and get involved into the non-profit world and how they raise money, which is very plausible as well. People do raise a lot of money, but then that can only go so far. All these big organizations are able to do that because they have donors that give huge amount of money. They do put them out there. So when you're an individual and you're starting your own non-for-profit business, it's really hard because you have to give so much of yourself out there. You have really in every single way, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, you have to feed this thing that you're not going to get profit. You know what I mean? Like, you're giving back, in 2 or 3 years you're just going to be reaching more people rather than making more personal money. And I know there is a time where you get to start paying yourself, but it's not the same thing as a full business, a for-profit business. Please do start these businesses. There are so many young people who have great ideas and they only think it can only be done as a non-profit. It's just like, no babe, you can actually make this a for-profit business. You should make it a for-profit business. You should be able to profit from your idea and your innovations and things that you're actually thinking of. Don't just make it a non-profit just because the people that are around you, the people that surround you are not able to pay now, like they will be able to pay at some point, and they will also thank you for bringing this innovation to life. Non-profit, it's great, but it's not sustainable for so long. And just for this to segue into the next point, the effect that it has on society, value that it adds to society. When you have a non-profit, yes, it's great, like people know you and stuff, but when it's a business, you're creating more jobs. I'm not saying that non-for-profits don't create businesses, but you're actually hiring people for free because you're working for free. And it's easy for that person to leave you when they find something that will give them money. It's easy for them to be able to know, you know what, like, it's been great. It's been a year we've been working on this. It's been 2 years we've been working on this, but I feel like I need to eat, you know. And people will actually leave to go and find something that will actually pay them. Let's say students who, let's say I'm finishing uni this summer, and then I'm just like, okay, someone has a non-for-profit business. I'm going to work there for experience, and then after I'm out. I need to find something that's going to pay me. It's like I need to eat. Okay, we all need to eat, and you need to eat. Whoever is starting the business, you have to eat as well. So adding value to society doesn't always mean that you have to do it for free. It doesn't mean you have to just make it a non-profit to be the bigger person. Like, no, babe, go get the money, go get the bag. Okay, and I'm not saying this in a capitalistic way, because that's what people will be like, oh, you have lived in a capitalistic society, so now you can actually just, it's easy for you to say that, or it's like you have that mindset. It's like yes and no. Societies become better when people are financially free, when people become more independent, when we have more private sectors and people are not just relying on the government. Big issue, but at the same time, people become better when they're making their lives better, when there are things that are making them better. And starting a business or being able to sell something and getting revenue from it, what's actually better than you being able to dictate where you go, what you do with your money and all this stuff? And I'm not saying the non-profits won't do that, but you will be giving a lot out. It's just so much that will be coming out of you that you won't be getting back for so long. Like, for the most part, you getting this money back, it will be a struggle for some. And if you're a student who you just finished school, you can have a business and you produce things and you just say, okay, at the end of the month I have this much stock left, I've broken even, there's a little bit of profit, so I want to give back to society. Then you give back for free, but you've already added value. You've already added value to yourself and your business. The next point I have is the savior complex. I know we don't want to talk about that. We just want to attribute that to white people, the missionaries, and you know, the big corporations. We just want to say, oh, the white savior complex, but the diaspora has a savior complex too. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about when the diaspora goes, it's like, oh, let's make a charity. And I'm not saying this for everyone. There's some people who actually do want to make business out of what they're trying to do, you know. It's like, I need to profit from this and that's what I'm going to do. So there is that, but there's also this need of trying to save people from themselves. Or it's just like, I want to make that a non-for-profit. You don't have to make it a non-for-profit. Work on it, make it a business plan, make it a proper business idea, and make it profitable. I'm not saying non-for-profits are not profitable. No, some of them are. Like, people can raise money out here. People are skilled into talking to people to give them money. They are, but like, can you use that for a profit rather than non-profit and becoming a convert into the business parts of things? Because I actually used to be a non-for-profit babes, like, all the time, but now I'm so, is it very valuable than for profits? The differences are major for a non-profit to a profit business. So please do feel free to actually expand your ideas or expand yourselves to the point where you're actually able to get a return from your ideas, because you will get a return however you want to live. I'm not even telling you how to live your life, but I'm just encouraging you to think more on the side where you're creating more valuable jobs to people. People are actually getting paid. People are not just coming to you for work experience, but also for money, so they can also add their value to your business and your ideas. Yeah, that will be all for me today. Please comment if you want us to continue this conversation. Just follow me on Instagram, it's the same name. I hope you share this with other people that you think will be able to benefit from this conversation, and also just share it so you can be able to start a conversation with your friend